What's going on, everybody? In this video, we're going to go over another pretty important concept that we like to refer to as priming. So at this point in the training, your dogs are ready to start venturing out into the real world. So we're kind of past phase one of teaching them all the basic obedience commands, introducing them to the training equipment, and establishing that good foundation around the neighborhood. And we're ready to start adding on some stimulation from the outside world. Okay, this is going to include car rides. Now, just like you guys learned on the warming up for the perfect walk and hearing your trainer talk about the mental state of your dog being so important, that is the concept that we're going to continue to expand on and talk about here in this video as we bring your dog into the car, and then as we talk about bringing your dog out into the community, regardless of what your destination is. So just to recap, when we're teaching that follow command, when we're walking with our dog, teaching the happy bubble, remember, it's all about mental state more than it is about the actual command and where your dog is at. If we don't have your dog in a calm mental state, ready to communicate and focus and engage with you, it's going to be very, very difficult to force your dog to stay next to you. So we have done a lot of work, and you've seen a lot of these videos where we take your dog that's calm in the kennel, that's now calm inside the home, that's now calm on the way out to the driveway or the front of your home, down the stairs of the apartment, whatever your situation is, to having a calm dog outside in the vicinity of your home, to now venturing out in the neighborhood. So that entire time, there are those steps that we've taught and conditioned to your dog and then now yourself through the videos. How do we maintain that calm mental state every step of the way as our environment gets more and more stimulating? And I can control less and less of it. I can control a lot of what happens inside the home. I can control less and less as I venture out into the neighborhood and into the world. So now we're going to talk about our favorite mode of transportation, which is the vehicle. A lot of you guys like to go on trips, or you want to bring your dog around town. You want to have that companion, and I want you to have that too. But let's talk about that for a second. In here, we have Sophie Girl demonstrating how to be nice and calm inside the vehicle. Some of your dogs have a not so calm relationship with the vehicle, whether that's fear, anxiety, insecurity, overexcitement, whatever emotional spectrum your dog has with the vehicle. Remember, it's all about neutrality. So we want to get rid of it. I don't care if your dog is overly excited and just wants to go from window to window out of happiness, or if they're fearful and they want to peek out the windows and get reactive and bark at people, bark at things as you go by because they're scared of them and they have learned through time that they can get away with that. Whether your dog's car sick, all of those things we're going to take care of by just instituting a little bit of structure into the vehicle. So I know that this is a truck and not everyone drives the same vehicle. We don't teach a one-size-fits-all method. Everything that we're training during these videos, everything we're training during this concept, I should say, is applicable to any vehicle. Your dogs are going to ride around in a giant cargo van if they're with me. They're going to ride around in the different trainers' vehicles depending on what they drive. But the point is that we're turning the vehicle into another place object, or if you want to think about it, like a giant kennel. Okay? So all of the expectations remain the same. Because of that positive transfer of learning that we use so much, especially with place training, you see here we got a nice little comfy dog bed that Sophie's laying on. We also could potentially fit your Ivy League place bed inside that back seat, or if you have a sedan or smaller car, the seat folded down is perfectly fine to be a place object. It's up to you to teach your dogs what structure is allowed, what the expectations are inside your specific vehicle, okay? So we've conditioned Sophie that when she gets in the vehicle, she assumes that down position. I got a nice comfy dog bed for her to ride on. Awesome. I have my e-collar and my voice and all the skills that I've built up around the house to condition this. What we have just done may seem very simple, but again, it's now taken a vehicle, which to a dog can be very overwhelming as it is, and we have taught her that it's nothing more than just a place to lay down, be calm, and relax as we drive around. I don't want you to think about it like a human. Think about it like your dog for a second. They get in this giant metal box, the door slams shut, they get a little tiny snapshot, potentially, depending on how big they are in your situation, of looking at the windows as the world just moves and flies by them. And that can cause those emotional spectrum reactions like we talked about. But either way, this is a very overwhelming thing for a dog, because either it takes them somewhere that they really, really enjoy, or it potentially takes them somewhere where they're scared to death and they're very overwhelmed by that whole process. Either way, this can be a huge anxiety thing that we don't even think about. Or you're very aware that your dog has anxiety in here because they won't calm down, they overheat, they pant like crazy. Those are all signs that your dog is worked up. The priming process begins with the vehicle at the house. So again, we want to desensitize, counter condition any craziness that they have with the vehicle. And then we're going to talk about the process once we get to our destination. Me giving you these rules is not me trying to tell you that your dog can't look out the window, that your dog is not allowed to get up, that your dog is not allowed to do whatever you enjoyed them doing in the past. I'm not trying to make this a place that your dog hates. I'm trying to make this a place that your dog does not get overwhelmed. Once you start, remember that balance, once you start to have success out at your destinations, you can calm your dog down regardless of where you're at. Then I don't care what your dog does. I don't care if they look out the window. I don't care if they smell with the window cracked. I don't care if you have a Jeep with the top off and they stick their head out. That is great. But until we get to that point, remember, we're teaching you the very baseline, most structured way you can do things to help set you up for success. I want you to think about this with me for a second. We close the door, we drive away, we go to our destination, and now I pop this door open. Once I pop this door open, it's just like me opening up the kennel door. Have we conditioned your dog to stay in there and wait patiently, or have you conditioned your dog as soon as they see an opening, they get to run out? Because that could be very dangerous once you get to your location. So hopefully you've conditioned it the right way. So as soon as you pop this door open at your destination, your dog is now exposed to a brand new world. If they're laying down calmly like we're hoping to, they don't know where you just went. They might as well have gotten in a space shuttle and gone to a different world, even if you just drove around the block. So we open up that door and they need to figure out where they're at, and they're going to be allowed to do that. But we're going to control them physically, so that way they can use their nose, they can use their eyes at the limited chunk that they have, and they can start to use their ears to gather that information of their new environment. After your dog is nice and calm, we're going to begin getting your dog out in those incremental steps, just like we do when we leave the home heading out for a walk. So leaving the vehicle straight onto a place bed, and then eventually doing the warm-up walking drills, and then we're off to the races. Nothing has changed, even though we're in a brand new environment. One more thing I want you to think about is we could strategically park at the end of a giant parking lot of a mall and be 200 yards from the nearest point of stimulation when we get somewhere. And that's great. Your dog will probably remain calm a lot quicker, or calm down a lot quicker when you get to your destination, rather than you pulling up into a crowded farmer's market here in the parking lot and you open up the door and boom, there is vendors 10 feet away, or inside of a dog park, or whatever your dog's triggers are. So just remember it that way. Even if you go to an abandoned parking lot that there's nothing going on, that's a great opportunity to get good repetitions of teaching your dog the behavior that they should be doing. So that way when you go to those more stimulating environments, you're already practicing your dog achieving that calm mental state, being responsive to your commands and understanding the expectations. So again, everything is connected. I hope you guys can see that now. Everything is connected, even when we transfer them into the vehicle, and you're going to hear your trainer just talk about the word priming in this whole process a lot, depending on if you're in the 2 or 3 week program. But every time we go somewhere, we're going to be doing some form or fashion of priming, so that way they have a conditioned process to be successful as they get out into the real world. So now we're going to take your dogs out today, put their skills to the test that they've learned up until this point in the training. I hope you guys enjoyed the video.